My name is Daniel. I'm 43 years old, and for most of my adult life, my wife Emily was my best friend. We met in college when neither of us had much. I worked evenings delivering pizzas while studying engineering. Emily waited tables to pay her tuition. We dreamed about owning a small home, raising children, and growing old together. Life wasn't always easy. There were years when we counted every dollar before buying groceries. We postponed vacations. We drove old cars long after everyone else had upgraded. But we laughed. We supported each other. Or at least, I thought we did. After years of hard work, my career finally took off. I became a project manager for a construction company, earning enough that Emily could leave her stressful office job and start the small flower shop she'd always wanted. I was proud of her. I invested my savings into her business without hesitation. If your dream succeeds, I always told her, we both succeed. For a while, everything seemed perfect. Then something changed. Emily began spending more time on social media. She joined online book clubs, meditation groups, and motivational communities. At first, I thought it was harmless. Then she started talking about someone named Adrian. He's incredibly wise, she said one evening. He understands people. I smiled politely. That's nice. Soon Adrian became part of every conversation. Adrian says happiness isn't about possessions. Adrian believes people stay trapped because they're afraid of change. Adrian really understands emotional intelligence. I laughed. Sounds like he should write a book. She didn't laugh. You wouldn't understand. That sentence hurt more than I admitted. Weeks passed. Emily became distant. Dinner conversations disappeared. Movie nights ended. She smiled constantly, just never at me. One Friday evening she asked if we could talk. Her voice sounded calm. Too calm. I've met someone. Every husband knows those 4 words. Your stomach drops before your brain catches up. I stared at her. What? I met Adrian. I felt cold. The guy from the internet. She nodded. He's different. I waited. She smiled in a way I'd never seen before. I've found my soulmate. The room became painfully quiet. What about us? She sighed sympathetically. We've grown apart. 12 years. People change. What about our vows? They mattered then. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're throwing away our marriage for someone you've barely met. She shook her head. You don't understand. Help me understand. Adrian is genuine. She looked directly into my eyes. He doesn't care about money. That sentence echoed in my head. Didn't care about money. The irony almost made me laugh. She was standing inside the home my salary paid for. Driving the SUV my overtime purchased. Running a flower shop funded by my savings. Yet suddenly money meant nothing. Within 2 weeks she moved out. She rented an apartment with Adrian. Friends tried comforting me. Some blamed Emily. Others blamed midlife crises. A few quietly admitted they'd seen this coming. I buried myself in work. The house felt unbearably empty. Every room reminded me of memories. Birthdays, Christmas mornings, lazy Sunday breakfasts. Even the silence hurt. Months passed. Then something unexpected happened. Emily called. Her voice sounded different. Nervous. Can we meet? Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a quiet coffee shop. She looked exhausted. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. She'd lost weight. How are you? She asked softly. I'm surviving. She looked down. I owe you an apology. I remained silent. She continued. Things aren't what I expected. I waited. Adrian doesn't have a job. I know. He said work limits spiritual growth. I know. He spends most days online giving relationship advice. I know. She looked embarrassed. I've been paying all the bills. Again. I know. She frowned. How? I smiled sadly. The world isn't as mysterious as you think. Mutual friends had quietly kept me informed. Emily rubbed her forehead. He said money doesn't matter. I finished the sentence. As long as someone else earns it. Tears filled her eyes. I feel so stupid. I didn't respond. She continued. He borrowed thousands from me. He promised investment opportunities. They disappeared. He says I'm selfish whenever I question him. I remembered every time she'd called him genuine. Every lecture she'd given me about emotional maturity. Every accusation that I cared too much about financial security. Now reality had arrived. I'm sorry, she whispered. I destroyed everything. I believed she meant it. But regret doesn't rebuild trust. A few weeks later I heard Adrian had left. Apparently he'd found another soulmate. One with a bigger house. Emily closed the flower shop. Too much debt. She moved into a small apartment across town and started working again. Life humbled her quickly. Meanwhile, something surprising happened to me. I rediscovered myself. I joined a hiking club. Started exercising. Reconnected with old friends. Even volunteered on weekends helping renovate homes for struggling families. For the first time in years, I wasn't living for someone else's happiness. I was building my own. Nearly 2 years later, I met someone named Grace. She was a middle school teacher. Kind, funny, grounded. She never talked about soulmates. She talked about partnership, responsibility, trust. One evening we sat watching the sunset from my porch. She reached for my hand. "You've been hurt," I nodded, "but you still believe people can be good." I smiled. "I have too. Because if one person's betrayal destroys your faith in everyone, then they steal far more than a marriage." Months later I ran into Emily at the grocery store. She looked healthier, older somehow. Life had taught her difficult lessons. She congratulated me after hearing I'd gotten engaged. "I'm happy for you," I thanked her sincerely. Then she quietly asked the question I'd expected someday. "Do you think you'll ever forgive me?" I looked at her for a long moment. "I already have." Hope appeared in her eyes. "But forgiveness," I continued, "doesn't always mean getting another chance." She nodded. For the first time in years, we understood each other. As I walked away, I realized something important. Real love isn't proven by dramatic speeches about soulmates. It isn't measured by romantic words claiming money means nothing. Real love shows itself in ordinary days. In paying bills together, keeping promises, standing beside each other during hard seasons, choosing loyalty when excitement fades. Anyone can chase butterflies. Character is choosing the person who stayed beside you while you were building the garden. And that's the difference between finding a soulmate and becoming one.